Our journey begins, my dear friend, in ancient times, far, far away, in the hushed, soft whispers of the 3rd century BC. Let your mind drift gently, allowing your thoughts to slow as we journey back across the calm, shimmering, ancient waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Feel the warmth of a distant sun, a warmth that still lingers in the very air, and hear the almost silent, rhythmic lapping of the waves against unseen, timeless shores. It is here, on the very edge of those vast and dreaming waters, on the sun-drenched coast of Egypt, that one of humanity's most astonishing structures began to rise, slowly, patiently, stone by patient stone. It reached towards the heavens, a beacon destined to guide, to warm, to comfort. This was the lighthouse of Alexandria. It wasn't just a building, it was a marvel, one of the legendary 7 wonders of the ancient world. Imagine its immense height, a towering presence of carefully crafted stone, reaching up, up, up into the inky blackness of the night sky, and, at its very summit, a great, bright fire, constantly, eternally burning. This fire wasn't just light, it was a living, breathing promise, guiding every ship, every weary explorer who ventured out to sea. A steadfast point of return, a sign of hope. It was a pillar of hope, indeed, a silent guardian watching over the restless deep. Unchanging structure, each and every night, a nameless keeper, a silent sentinel, was tasked with an immense responsibility to keep that sacred flame alive. He would carry heavy logs on his back, feeling the rough texture, bile of the wood, the quiet weight settling onto his shoulders with each slow, deliberate step. He would carefully, meticulously fuel the fire, perhaps with rich, earthy olive oil, watching as the flames danced and grew, their golden light pushing back the encroaching shadows. He would then, with a practiced hand, adjust the polished bronze, the mirrors, angling them just so to reflect the precious light even further across the vast, dark expanse of the sea. All through the long, silent hours, he endured the chill sea winds, feeling their cool embrace in complete and utter solitude. not sleep, not for a single fleeting moment, not for a brief, unconscious second. A single, small failure. The soft, slow fading of that vital light could seal the terrifying fate of an entire fleet, causing them to lose their way in the treacherous darkness. Perhaps, in that one moment of lapse, an entire ship might crash onto unseen rocks, vanishing beneath the waves. His only companions were the comforting, repetitive crackle of the fire, the hushed whisper of the endless wind, and a profound, all-encompassing silence that stretched out around him. The hours stretched on and on, slowly, and then even more slowly, each passing minute melting into the next, forming an endless, tranquil flow. It was the same quiet cycle, repeated every single night. Logs added, fire fed, a watchful gaze cast out across the deep, and that light, that precious, unwavering light, it never, ever faded. Silent watches in the Middle Ages time, with slow, measured steps, continues its quiet march forward, bringing us now to the deep, resonant echoes of 14th century Northern Europe. Here, in these colder, more unforgiving climes, lighthouses were often far more primitive, often just crude, sturdy wooden towers, standing bravely against the fierce elements. Inside their humble, drafty walls, the only source of light would be simple, flickering tallow candles or thick, slow-burning whale oil, casting a faint, trembling glow upon the vast, dark, restless sea. Imagine the hushed, almost imperceptible whisper of the ocean as it breathes in and out, a constant ancient rhythm against the wooden frame of the tower. A lighthouse keeper, bundled in thick, heavy furs, his breath visible in the frigid air, stands almost motionless in the tower's cold heart. His hands, perhaps, tremble slightly, not from fear, but from the bone-deep chill of the endless winter, night that seems to stretch into eternity, boundless and profound. Every snowflake that gently hits the small, grimy window pane, every gust of wind that howls and echoes through the ancient stones of the tower, becomes a distinct, vivid companion in the profound silence. Loneliness, a palpable presence, would embrace him like a heavy, comforting blanket, familiar and all-encompassing. Sometimes, if he was fortunate, he might have an apprentice, a quiet young lad, learning the solitary ways of the light. But mostly, there was only the vast, enveloping silence. His sacred job was simple, yet utterly vital, to keep the precious, flame alive, always. No matter what the storm, no matter how deep the fog, it must never, ever go out. Time in this tower seems to almost stand still, each hour stretching, elongating, until it feels boundless. Only the sea moves, a constant, repetitive motion, hitting the shore, receding, pulling back, and returning once more, back and forth, back and forth. And that light, that solitary, unwavering light, it continued its ancient duty, burning on and on. Lighthouses of this period were often maintained by monasteries or other devout religious institutions, for they saw this duty not just as a practical service, but as a spiritual act of faith and devotion. For these dedicated monks, this guiding light was not merely a physical guide for ships. It was also a profound spiritual source of hope, a tangible representation of divine vigilance. The simple, sparse rooms within these towers were like places of profound retreat, sanctuaries of quiet purpose. At night, their sacred duty was to light the lamps, to carefully trim the wicks, ensuring a clear, steady flame. They would then stand, watching the flickering, mesmerizing dance of the light above them, knowing that below, the dark, churning waters of the world restlessly stirred, and they carried the immense responsibility of being a fixed, unmoving point. Above it all, loneliness, for them, was not a burden, but an inseparable part of these long, silent watches, a path to deeper contemplation. Perhaps they kept a worn book beside them, a sacred text, or simply their own deep thoughts, their minds, drifting with the rhythm of the waves. It was a calm, orderly life, dedicated to a singular, luminous purpose. 19th century England, gas lamps and the keeper's journal time advances, with steady, unyielding momentum, and technology, like a slow tide, begins to gently infiltrate the ancient world of lighthouses. We are now in the heart of Victorian-era England, a time of grand innovation and meticulous detail. Our focus now rests upon a magnificent lighthouse, standing proud and defiant on a remote, windswept island, a place utterly cut off from the clamor of the outside world, ruled instead by the unchanging forces of jagged rocks and crashing waves. The air here carries the crisp, clean scent of salt and spray, a constant reminder of the ocean's vast power. Listen closely, my friend, as we hear the faint, rhythmic ticking of a precise clock, a gentle, mechanical heart within the tower. And in the hush, the almost imperceptible scratching sound of a quill pen, its nib gliding softly across the aged, slightly yellowed pages of a worn journal. This is the hand of lighthouse keeper Thomas, meticulously recording the endless, quiet rhythm of his days and nights. 4:15 a.m. Fog continues its silent embrace. Checked gas lamp pressure, precisely adjusted. Refilled the main reservoir, ensuring the flame's unwavering strength. Noticed again, a tiny mouse chewed a corner of my worn book's spine. A small, persistent reminder of life beyond the stone. Poor Thomas hasn't seen his beloved family for many long months. Mail, a rare and precious connection, sometimes arrives by boat, if the unforgiving sea allows, rarely and unexpectedly. He waits patiently for the arrival of those cherished letters, for the quiet peace contained within those few tender words from home. He remembers one, its words etched deeply into his heart. Hi, Dad. I'm doing well in school. Please, Dad, don't let the light go out. And Thomas never does. Through the biting, relentless cold of winter, when the wind howls like a banshee and the waves crash with furious might against the very foundations of the tower, even in the most violent, soul-shaking storm, he is always on duty. His commitment is absolute, an unbreakable vow to the sea and those who sail upon it. This 19th century was a pivotal turning point for lighthouse engineering, a golden age of towering ambition. Visionary engineers, giants of their time, like John Smeaton, patiently, meticulously built colossal structures, true masterpieces of human ingenuity, such as the Eddystone Lighthouse, defying the very ocean itself, raising its stone by careful stone in the midst of the churning sea, the slow, rhythmic placement of each massive stone, the gentle, precise tapping of hammers on rock, the quiet scrape of mortar against granite dot. All these sounds, faint yet profound, whisper a timeless tale of human perseverance, of unwavering patience, and of a steadfast will to conquer the impossible. And the light itself underwent a magnificent transformation. The Fresnel lens was invented, a breathtaking innovation that forever changed marine navigation. This ingenious, multifaceted glass structure, a true work of optical art, possessed the magical ability to gather a small, humble light source and project it powerfully and precisely, miles and miles away, cutting through the deepest darkness, a guiding spear of pure illumination. Imagine the faint, almost melodic, rhythmic worry sound of the colossal lens rotating slowly, gracefully, in the very heart of the lighthouse, a constant, reassuring hum. As it turns, its precise, brilliant beams of light elegantly cut through the inky blackness, sweeping across the vast expanse of the ocean, Keepers like Thomas had a daily routine filled with the meticulous maintenance of these technological wonders. Every single morning, they would dedicate themselves to the careful, diligent polishing of every brass and glass surface, with the faint, almost meditative sound of a microfiber cloth gliding softly over the glass, perfecting every inch of the magnificent lens, ensuring its flawless clarity. Slowly, with practiced hands, they would turn the heavy key to precisely wind the intricate mechanism, listening intently to the gentle, rhythmic ticking of the gears, a mechanical heartbeat within the tower. Every single detail, no matter how small, was completed slowly, deliberately, and with the utmost care. Every quiet moment was dedicated to ensuring the light's unbroken, constant, reassuring presence, a guardian against the dark. America's first keepers, women, and the Lighttime continues its quiet journey, bringing us now to the wind-swept shores of the New England coast in the early 1800s. Here, amidst the rugged beauty of a younger nation, being a lighthouse keeper wasn't always solely a man's arduous job. Sometimes the unpredictable winds of fate and the cruel hand of the sea carried this immense duty to the resilient hands of women, just like Abigail, whose silent strength would illuminate the dark. Abigail's beloved sailor husband had bravely gone to sea, his ship disappearing into the vast unknown horizon, never to return. In his sudden, tragic absence, with a heart heavy yet resolute, Abigail quietly took over his sacred duty at the lighthouse, barefoot, feeling the cool, familiar stone beneath her feet. She would slowly, patiently climb the spiral stone stairs, her soft footsteps leaving a faint, ghost-like echo on each cold, worn step. A small, sturdy lantern, its gentle glow a comfort. In her hand, she would lightly touch the cold, ancient stones of the staircase as she ascended, a silent communion with the tower's enduring spirit. She writes in her simple journal, her thoughts flowing onto the page with the soft, scratching sound of a quill pen, its ink dark against the parchment. The stars are hidden tonight, shrouded by the thick, encroaching mist. A ship, a faint, ghostly silhouette in the distance, flashed its desperate light. A silent plea. I answered, swiftly, precisely, turning the great lens, sending forth my own. Strong beam, perhaps, just perhaps, I saved them. No thanks required, only the silent duty. strange rhythm of time within the hushed, isolated world of a lighthouse takes on a very strange, fluid, and often uncertain rhythm. In this towering sentinel, stripped completely of the constant noise and hurried pace of the outside world, everything acquires a profound, almost hypnotic rhythm. Repetition becomes the very music of life itself. The same quiet duties, repeated day after day. The same soothing sounds, heard night after night. The same vast, endless sights, observed hour after hour, every day, every night. A tranquil, enduring cycle. One lighthouse keeper, a wise old soul, once shared his profound insight into this unique existence. Silence here is not always a friend. Sometimes it is a question, a gentle, persistent whisper. Why are you still alone? And in that vast, embracing stillness, no answer ever truly comes. Just the soft, constant whisper of the wind rustling around the lantern. The gentle, rhythmic sound of waves softly hitting the shore, then receding, a tireless breath of the ocean, and the intimate, quiet echo of one's own slow, steady breath. This profound solitude, for some, was an arduous, heavy ordeal, a crushing weight of isolation. But for others, it was, remarkably, the very beginning of an inner journey, a path to deep tranquility and profound peace. At the very top of the lighthouse, one might hear the faint, comforting sound of turning the pages of a well-worn book, each rustle a tiny symphony, or perhaps simply the quiet, encompassing peace of observing the vast, ever-changing ocean, lost in thought. From time to time, the restless mind, in this endless, expansive solitude, would begin to play its own gentle, ethereal games. On nights when the fog rolled in, thick and deep, blurring all sight, the blurred vision might begin to conjure up ghostly ship silhouettes in the hazy distance, faint, indistinct shapes against the swirling mist, or perhaps imaginary, mythical creatures rising slowly, majestically from the unseen depths of the sea, dancing in the mists. These were not frightening specters, but rather beautiful, ethereal visions, born purely from the deepest parts of human imagination, vibrant and alive in the profound, endless solitude. Not terrifying, just the mind's gentle, playful dance with silence and the unseen. When the thick, impenetrable fog would, without warning, roll in from the ocean, everything would change instantly. The only thing the eyes could perceive was a dense, suffocating white blanket, swallowing the world whole. The very lighthouse itself would disappear, swallowed by the mist, becoming a ghostly presence. That's when the deep, resonant voice of the foghorn would kick in, its sound echoing through the thick air, a muffled, distant, yet utterly haunting sound, like a giant's mournful sigh, repetitive, constant, unyielding. This powerful, mournful sound would serve as an essential warning, a lifeline, a guide to those brave souls lost at sea, their ships blindly searching for a way home, bet for the solitary keeper inside the lighthouse, wrapped in the endless white. It also made the overwhelming sound of loneliness even more pronounced, a constant hum in the stillness. As the fog swallowed everything, blurring reality, the keeper, trusting implicitly in that rhythmic sound and diligently protecting his precious light, continued his solitary, vital duty. The deep, mournful melody of that horn, sometimes like a strange, unsettling lullaby, sometimes just a stark reminder, tell of the steady, unwavering rhythm of an endless, silent wait for the world to reappear. Animal companions, but the lighthouse keepers were not always, in every moment, in complete and utter solitude. For some, their long, quiet watches, stretching endlessly into the night, were softened, if only a little, by the comforting presence, of loyal animal companion. These faithful, wordless friends, with their simple, honest presence, would help to gently soften the profound silence, adding a quiet warmth to the cold stone tower. Perhaps it was a faithful dog, a shaggy, watchful companion. Every time the deep, muffled foghorn blew its lonely call, the dog would let out a soft, sympathetic bark from within the tower, by its master's side. Perhaps it was meant as a shared warning, a mutual acknowledgement of the sea's power. Or perhaps just a loyal protest against the all-encompassing silence. But that gentle, familiar bark, a small, living sound, would always remind the keeper that he had a breathing, loyal companion, be silent witness to his endless vigil. Perhaps it was a curious, agile cat, a small, graceful shadow, playing silently with the shifting reflections of light cast by the rotating lens chasing the elusive, dancing beams. Its keeper, with a gentle smile, might have affectionately called it the Light Watcher, a tiny, living guardian of the sacred glow. The cat's soft, rhythmic purrs, its gentle brushing against his legs, a comforting, familiar weight, would add a small, quiet warmth to that solitary, sometimes stark existence in the heart of the tower. These beloved animals, with their simple, unburdened presence, truly helped to alleviate that deep, embracing silence. They were the keeper's closest friends, their most loyal, uncomplaining listeners, silent confidants in a world of whispers and vastness. But one day, inevitably, they too would be gone, their short lives ending, leaving behind an echoing emptiness. And then that familiar, profound silence would remain, settling back in even deeper. Yet their cherished presence, their simple loyalty, would forever leave a gentle, warm mark on the keeper's soul, bringing a quiet, comforting smile to his weathered face, a bittersweet memory of shared watches. Automation and the end of the watch, the 20th century, with its relentless march of progress, brought profound and sweeping change to the ancient world of lighthouses. Technology advanced at an astonishing, almost dizzying pace, accelerating with each passing decade, and inevitably, inexorably, automation arrived. The era of the lonely, dedicated human lighthouse keeper was slowly, quietly, but irrevocably coming to an end. There was no longer a pressing need for constant, vigilant human supervision. Lighthouses, once the domain of tireless watchers, could now operate with the cold, impersonal precision of sensors, guided by unseen timers and even controlled remotely. Teas from distant, comfortable offices, miles away from the crashing waves. Imagine a man, his face etched with the quiet lines of a lifetime spent at sea, meticulously packing his suitcase, an old, worn leather suitcase, its surface softened by countless years of handling, a silent witness to countless departures and returns. Inside, only a few simple clothes, a few beloved dog-eared books, and the immeasurable weight of a lifetime of solitude, of dedication, of profound memories. He closes the worn latches with a soft click, a final, quiet sound. He looks at the towering structure, his home, his world, one last, lingering time. Perhaps he bids a silent, heartfelt farewell to this stoic structure, this constant companion he's known since the early days of his childhood, with which he's weathered countless furious storms, side by side. He slowly, deliberately closes the heavy of this lighthouse, this enduring beacon, now runs on cold, efficient solar cells. Harnessing the sun's silent power, it shines faithfully throughout the long, dark night, with its familiar, ancient rhythm cutting through the vastness. Automatic, perfect, unwavering, but that profound silence, it's still there. Only now, no one is truly listening to it anymore. It echoes, hollow and vast, in those empty, echoing rooms. It whispers, a lonely sigh, in the now vacant stairwells, carrying untold stories on the wind. This profound transition, this shift from human touch to mechanical precision, was a deeply bittersweet one for many of the devoted keepers. Their lifelong dedication, their quiet sacrifices, their unwavering commitment were now replaced by the efficient, unfeeling hum of a machine. But they, too, with the quiet dignity of their calling, accepted this inevitable change. Because what truly mattered, what had always mattered above all else, was that the light, the guiding light, never, ever went out. It mattered not who lit it or how it burned, but simply that it burned. And that light, that precious, unwavering light, thanks to the silent, tireless sacrifices of generations of lighthouse keepers, still shines today, a legacy of quiet devotion cutting through the dark. Echoes in abandoned lighthouses today. Many of these magnificent, stoic lighthouses stand empty, silent sentinels of a bygone era. The humble rooms where generations of devoted keepers once lived, slept, and watched are now filled only with the mournful whisper of the wind, rustling through cracked windows and empty spaces. Wild vines, green tendrils of nature's reclaiming, creep patiently through the shattered glass, reaching slowly, silently, into the dusty interiors. Old wooden floors, once trodden by diligent feet, now slowly, quietly rot, succumbing to the damp and the relentless passage of time. The wind whistles, a lonely, haunting melody, through the empty, echoing halls, singing a song of forgotten watches. But sometimes, on a quiet afternoon, a curious visitor comes. Silently, reverently, they climb the winding stairs inside the lighthouse, their footsteps echoing softly in the stillness, lost in thought. And as they reach the top, bathed in the quiet light, they sometimes whisper, "I feel like someone is still here, ... watching, still listening." Those silent, weathered stone walls, they seem to breathe with unseen memories. The whispers of the wind carrying ancient secrets, they all seem to carry the deep, enduring memories of the old keepers, their patient vigils, their unwavering presence. The echoes of their long, lonely watches seem to be etched continues to whisper in that tower, a ghostly, comforting presence. Lighthouses, more than just impressive structures of rock and metal, continue to live on eternally as profound symbols of hope, of unwavering guidance, of extraordinary human resilience, and of silent, tireless sacrifice. Every single shining light that still pierces the dark, every beacon that continues its lonely vigil, carries within its heart the profound memory of a lighthouse keeper's long, patient, and truly silent watch, an eternal flame in the human spirit. A night inside the lighthouse now, for one last serene time. Let's return gently to a quiet, peaceful night inside that very lighthouse. Outside, the vast, boundless sea is calm, its surface like a sheet of rippling silk, breathing softly. The stars, countless diamonds in the infinite velvet blackness of the sky, twinkle brightly like distant, benevolent eyes watching over the world. Inside, in the very heart of the lighthouse's lantern room, the lamp burns steadily, its golden light a constant, unwavering presence, filling the space with a warm, comforting glow. The keeper, if he were still there, would listen to the rhythmic, soothing tick-tock of an old, reliable clock, its gentle beat marking the steady passage of time. There is no danger here, no disturbing sound to break the profound stillness, just the familiar, quiet comfort of a simple, enduring routine, and the deep, encompassing peace that history itself gently whispers, a lullaby of the ages. In that moment, suspended between the vastness of the ocean and the infinity of the sky, there is only that light and the profound tranquility that surrounds it, embracing everything in its gentle embrace. The soft, gentle lapping of waves against the shore, a continuous, soothing whisper. The wind, a mere breath, softly caressing the windows of the lantern room, a tender touch. Everything is in its place, a reassuring order, a perfect harmony. Beyond time and the boundless ocean,